Good morning. Are we having fun yet? So obviously the indexes are coming in, and I apologize for starting late. Hey, no, you. Good morning. Uh, I apologize for starting late. I actually was doing a bunch of trades and just getting positioned for what I think is going to happen, and I'll address it in a minute. Let's let people come in, and then we're going to run through the indexes real quick and the levels you need to watch from the indexes and what's going on here with the debt ceiling and how we should act on it. Good morning, Raj. So just give it a minute, let everybody funnel in, and then we can kind of go from there. So as always, I'll definitely be taking questions, and we can go through everything that you want to go through today, of course. But I just want to get these links out there, and then let people funnel in. For whatever it's worth, I can't stress enough to, like, if you don't subscribe to the channel, you should, and you follow every day or you're new, subscribe to the channel because I change the time every morning. I log on when I finally am done my work. So you'll be notified of when this is by being subscribed to the channel. So just FYI, I think it's important, and let me just put this in, and now we're done. So good morning, Yol Chris. Buenos dias. Are you from Spain, or where are you from, Yol Chris? And how do you pronounce that? Do you pronounce that Yol Chris? Is that how I pronounce your name? Am I pronouncing it correctly? Daniel, you're obsessed. I still have a position. I started a position yesterday in AMD. I have it. I have no interest in getting rid of it. Let me jump into what I want to go over here, because this is really going to set the tone for everything. Okay. So let's just go through what's going on here. All right. So you're seeing the SPY come in, right? And you're seeing the SPY come down here. And let's get rid of these levels for a minute. So this is what's going on this morning. Okay. So you went to the 50-day and you're breaking. All right. This is what's happening to you on the SPY. Okay. No matter how you slice it, that's what we're dealing with. It's not what you want to see. Okay. Now, am I surprised by this? No, because I've been stating for some time in the community, and I think I even did it here yesterday, so you could pull back. This is a pullback. That's exactly what you're seeing happen. So what I would recommend is just watch key levels. For me, seeing that I see this breakout bar here, you're going to have to watch how you act on the low of this bar. So you're going to have to watch how 439 acts. Okay. You're going to have to watch that area. See how we act on that 439 bar right there. Okay. If we break it, you have the potential to go lower, right? If you break this, we have a real problem. I don't know that we're going to get that low today. I mean, it'd be 2 or 3%. It'd be a bloodbath. I don't think you're going to get there. But I do want to point something out. Okay. The debt ceiling is the issue, right? That's what we're dealing with. So you have to think about this for a minute and just map it out in your head. If you're a political party, and I don't care which one you believe in, or if you don't believe in political parties, which I frankly don't, but if you're in power, you're going to want to stay in power. If you're in control of three branches, like if you're in control of Congress, right? The House, the Senate, and the presidency, and you can't get the debt ceiling done and the government shutdown avoided, that's not going to really inspire a lot of confidence. Okay. So I would imagine that this gets resolved sooner than later and probably leads to the stocks and the markets going back up. But you are starting to see a change in trend. And, I saw it yesterday and we're seeing follow through with that. So I expect this to be resolved, but let's just go through this. Okay. This is down 34 basis points. Okay. This is down the least of any index. Okay. That's important to recognize, which means that this probably bounces today, and the stocks that went up yesterday that opened down today probably bounce as well. Right. So you're going to have to look at those names, Carnival Cruise Lines, the airlines, things like that, casinos, they may bounce today. Okay. You can see clearly that if you look over here, look at the change. Okay. Now what's getting hurt the worst? Well, tech is, and they're basically coming out and saying that they feel that they're going to raise earnings. or raise rates, right? I mean, that's got to be the reason this is happening. So I'd watch this 361.44 very closely because you should bounce. But if you don't bounce, okay, Microsoft's now below its 50-day moving average. That's never really a good thing for this to hang here. So we're hoping that that rallies and comes back up today, okay? Apple is below its 50-day moving average. So that's not really where you want to be at. So just keep that in mind, okay? Now, if you look for sectors, and then I'll take questions, but if you look for sectors, this sector, since Bank of America came out and made their statement about energy prices, this sector has been on fire. So that's really what I want to cover. But I think it's really important to understand that this is being caused by an external force that you simply just can't control. So let's just get into it, and I'll start taking questions now for what you have. As far as CELH, I mean, Jaron, I went over this. I don't know, I apologize, Jaron, because I don't know who's in the community and who's not. I went over this yesterday. I mean, to me, the minute that it broke this level, I don't know why people are still in the trade, right? I mean, it was clear that we took out the low of the breakout bar. Why you're still in it? There's no reason. What do you do with it here? Well, I think that you're seeing exactly what I kind of thought you would see with some of these names. I think you're going to see a washout this morning and then see a bounce. Now, I don't know if this is going to hold or not, that 90, but what I would watch, Jaron, if I was still in this, is I would watch this level. Okay, you're going to have to see how you respond to the 21-day. If you break the 21-day, you're going to probably have an issue. Okay, if you break that from where you're at up here, you could probably head down to this 50-day and right around this level. Okay, which is like $70. So 70, what is that? 77. So that can happen if this gets worse. Okay, so just FYI, if this gets worse, something like that can happen. Just keep that in mind. So let's just keep going through it. Oh, you're in Colombia. Okay, cool. ASML is getting crushed. Yeah, I mean, instead of Tesla, I don't know why you would buy that instead of Tesla. I mean, two completely different companies. But something like this getting crushed this morning, yeah, I mean, you have to go and take a look and see if there's news. If there's not news on this and this is getting crushed like this is definitely something to watch because that's exactly where you would bounce. I really haven't looked at this morning and seen what's going on yet. If there's news on it, let me know. I honestly, I haven't gotten through all my news yet. But to me, like, look at this gap down. This is where you're bouncing around. This is where you buy it. Down 40, 50 points, and then it winds up trading back up and forming a hammer, right? That would be your bet, right? If you got into it. This just looks like massive weakness, and I'm not so sure that that's going to be the case here. So just keep that in mind, but there could be a bounce here. I'm not saying that you buy this and stay in it, right? When you break like this, the chances of you going back to highs anytime soon become a little remote. What I am saying is that you might be able to pick off a trade here. There may be a trade there. I like that for a trade. So Fang, hey, Pavan. So anything energy related, you've had these breakouts out of here, and usually they're transitory. This is not transitory. These are going, and they're continuing to go. So people are expecting oil stocks to continue to move. Now, whether they keep going straight up or not, I have no idea, but they are moving higher, and that is continuing. So it's definitely something to look at. You're going to have to be really careful here because when these reverse, and they will reverse, it's going to be ugly, right? It's going to be like this, right? So you just have to keep that in mind. But yes, these can go higher. This can go higher. You'd have to watch this level up here, see how it acts at 101. But these can go. IRNT, just FYI, I mean, just caveat with this. I have a position in this. I've done nothing with it. This is what you've done this morning. It's not something I want to act on, but so far this morning, pre-market, look what you've done. You ran right to the 21-day and you held. So I'm not so sure how we're going to open or what's going to happen. The beta of that stock in regards to the market is pretty low. You could sell down. You could, but we're going to have to see how that plays out here. I'm not so sure on that. So my CEI. Hey, so I looked at that. I mean, look, you could see another run in that stock today. I was looking at that this morning. I mean, you have to understand something. The level we talked about yesterday, you blew right through. I don't know if it was you that brought it up or somebody else brought it up. I mean, you blew right through that level. I didn't like that little wick that you had the other day, but this is trading just like oil's trading. So until that stops, until the oil trade stops, this does not stop. So it's going to trade just like the rest of them. This is what you have to watch now, the 328 level, right? Looks like there's another level right here, but we're through that. Okay. So, and let's just go to and look at this on a weekly and see if I'm missing something. Yeah, you have all this noise. We're not going to get into that. So what do you do here? Well, I would watch these levels because I don't usually say this about smaller cap names, but this can continue to do this. If energy is going to go up, and this is tied to energy pretty closely, oil prices, this is going to keep going. So it seems like one of those names. And, just a lot of these smaller cap names are going to start breaking out like this. This is not going to be the only one. We're going to start seeing spikes in all of them, like you saw yesterday, from rig up to, here. And now all of a sudden you're going to go up here, right? And then you're just going to keep going. I mean, I think that's what could happen with this. You can get back up to here. So you're just going to have to watch and see how it plays out. But yes, that can happen. I think it can keep going. So my focus list energy, can you take a look at some of these? Yeah, FANG I looked at, OEG I looked at yesterday. Like, look, here's what I have. That's the wrong symbol. Hold on. Okay, so they're all going to look the same. It's all one trade. Okay, all you're really doing is trying to find the ones that haven't moved yet, or find the ones that move the same. That looks the same exact pattern as this, right? I mean, just one's more accentuated than the other. They're all going to look the same. MRO, okay, the oil is tied directly to that, right? Like these are the ones I'm going to throw out there. Oxy, like this is oil's tied directly to these. Like these are the ones that usually really move on oil prices. So keep that in mind. CPE, right? You can see what's going on here, right? They're just exploding. Usually this is transitory. It does not usually go like this. Energy prices don't usually do this. So it's definitely something to watch and to keep an eye on. So I think it's way overdone. I mean, Jared, I think it's way overdone. I was buying this morning. It's why I started late. I think it was way overdone, but I could be wrong, and you can go lower. It can always get worse, but right here, without a doubt, I'm on the long side. I'm not selling anything today, not into this. Facebook and MU, I mean, I'll honor my stops if they trigger, but I want to see the open. I definitely want to see the open. So 355.19, this is what you've been dealing with. Looks like you got there again today and you rejected. This is, look, you're starting to see a lot of this on a lot of large cap names. Okay. Let's get rid of these levels, right? You're starting to see a lot of this on these large cap names. And so I'd be very concerned about this little tech and how you're saying Apple stay below this, Facebook stay below this. Right, they're all staying below that 50-day moving average. Okay, and when they start doing that, you need to pay attention to it. So, and I mean, here's a great example of that. You got down and you just kind of kept going. I would not be a buyer of this here. I was short this. I'm not short it now. I got stopped out on this break up. But to me, this looks like it could go a lot lower. I think they have real issues this time. But I've said that in the past. In regards to Micron, we have earnings coming out, right? Again, I haven't gone through all my news yet. But I believe we have earnings coming out. Or, I have to just take a look at when that is. I think it's today, probably at the end of the day. So You have to be really careful playing this into earnings. This can go 10% one way or another on earnings. It's done it plenty of times. Back here we fell down. We went from 84 to 80, right? 5%. Here last time on earnings, you went from 86 to 92, right? I mean, look at this. You can just see it all over the place. 84 to 77. Right. So let's just take those three and just average them together and say that you're going to have a 6. You could have anywhere between a 4 to 7 point move. OK. And you need to be willing to accept that. And if you're not, you probably don't want to play the stock. OK. Just kind of keep that in mind. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Now, in regards to that, just consider that. Now, I do want to point this out. Like these kinds of names that are selling down today. Right, on this news, these kinds of names can reverse today. All right, so they can reverse because the IWM is the strongest. So let me just get that out there before I forget. Like you see, I like this rejected, right? This might not reject later today. Okay, bidding down $1, letting people get in these names that have gotten beaten down. Okay, you might want to remember some of these names I just threw out there. Right, there's a ton to go over today, so I'm trying to go over it as fast as possible. Treasury yields indicating bond sell-off, which is bearish for high growth. Yes, correct. So what essentially it means is that as yields increase, that the cost of borrow gets greater. As the cost of borrow gets greater, debt increases. Therefore, which group of stocks is tied highest to debt? Tech names are. Absolutely. You're 100% right. And that's why you're seeing the sell-off. You're 100% accurate. Crowd, AEHR. So let's look at Crowd. So this was my wedge line. And this is what I was looking for. And we just went the other way. So this is not something I'd be rushing into or going near. So not at all. A matter of fact, I mean, you literally on the other day to me, you triggered a short position right here. Breaking this and coming down and closing here. This was actually a short. So definitely something to watch. This could get a lot worse. So like, look, I'm saying that you can bounce here. At the same time, I'm saying this can get worse. So you have to understand that at these levels, you don't really want to be selling into this. But if you don't have a choice, you might want to be selling into this. I, on the other hand, am playing longs. I mean, I'll be on the long side all day today. I can already tell that. I rarely will short a market that opens and gaps down like this. It's very hard to make money on those days. RCAT, let's take a look at that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about it. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. So far, you rejected this level. Everyone knows how I feel about the smaller cap names. They're speculative. Could it do this again? Sure, it could. I mean, what would you need to see in order to think that it might do that? You need to see something like this, right? You need to see volume, right? I mean, that's what you're looking for. Like, look at that volume spike. That's what you're looking for. Because when you see that, you could see a reversal here. So I would argue that if you close above the 200-day, which looks like 350, you could go. That could go again. FDSB today and up 2%. How does it look? Any chance of going to the highs? Let's take a look. I don't see this going anywhere. I'd be very cautious if this came out with earnings and you're saying it had good earnings and this was my move. I'd be very cautious of that. It's not something that I would go near. So take a look at that. I wouldn't be jumping into that. So, hi, Robert. So I kind of just went through those. I mean, if you want to look at this, you're looking at natty gas. I mean, this is the one everybody trades, right? If you're looking for natural gas prices, that's the one everybody trades. Okay. I mean, you can tell by the thing, BTUs. So, and you're seeing oil move. Does that mean natural gas is going to move? Well, it would just make sense, right? Some people, it's not going to just be one. So this could absolutely go. There's no question about it. This could definitely be something that continues here. And, look, you have a little wedge line right here, right? You're going to break that. You can get back up to this 1580, and this could continue to go. At the same time, that's not really that far off a level for you to buy and kind of sit with and make sure that it works. So this can go up here. It can. So it's definitely worth watching. But I hope that answers your question. EXPI, just FYI, I have a position in this. I just feel like I should announce that for disclosure purposes. It's definitely not doing what I wanted it to do. Coming in, I'm down 2 points in my trade, a little less than 2 points, but it's definitely not doing what I wanted to do this morning, obviously. I am in this wedge. I am in a bull flag. I'm probably not doing anything unless I take out this low. At that point, I'll be annoyed, but I'll have to close it. Because I really think that this could have gone had we not been in this situation with the political landscape. And so now this might take some time. The whole market might take some time while they work this out. So, but I still like the name and I'm sticking with it. I've been buying. I was buying one of the reasons I started today late was I've been buying the dip all morning. So I mean, I'm a dip buyer here. I can't be any clearer. I would be very careful shorting any names here. Into this, you'd want them to rally. The one short idea I threw out yesterday did pretty well. I'll cover it again. I would just be cautious shorting today, right? I'm not saying that you can't short this. I'd be cautious shorting today. I'd want to see it run up. Okay. When these stocks start breaking, when these large cap names start breaking the 50-day, it gets pretty clean to short them and just stay with them until you get over that breakout bar that did it. You just have to have the ability to stay in the trade, and that usually comes to position size. Would I do this today? No, because you could bounce to the 50-day and still be in a short position. That's 100 points. I have no interest in that. This was one I gave out yesterday on the short side, and it did really well. I think you'd be up 40 points in it right now. The issue here now becomes, does this get oversold, right? And that all that means is that I could then bounce back up and roll again. So if I shorted this, I'd be really careful this morning if I don't have major follow through early on. Okay, I'd be very careful because that leads me to believe that it's probably not going to continue. But I would wait on short. Hey, good morning, Utu. You and APPS. So you tried to break out. You're coming right to your 21-day. Where do you usually buy the stock? The 21-day, right? When it breaks, it goes to the 50. So you understand where your risk is. So you don't want that risk, right? So you have to figure out how you're going to handle that risk. If you break the 21-day, you're going to go to the 50. Okay? Just understand that. It's happened every time. So how do you play that? You could buy it if you get a reversal off of here. You might be a day early here on that name. Okay? Usually tech sell-offs are not a one-day event if people are positioning themselves because of the bond market. So just keep that in mind. APPS, just another caveat. I have a position in this. So there's nothing to do. Looks great. Maybe it sells down on this. Maybe it doesn't. I don't have an answer for you on that. This wick pretty much tells you everything you need to know from yesterday. Okay. What it's telling you is every single sell down was met by buying. It's one of the reasons why, I even said with this today, watch this. Every single pullback was met by buying. So far, markets are weak. This thing's just sitting there. Pay attention to names like that. Pay attention to names like this. You might want to remember some of these. Remember how this came to 317 yesterday? 318. Everyone thought it was over, and then it went up $20. They're the kinds of names that could bounce today if this market bounces. So you just want to remember some of those. Okay. So Dell. Okay. Bearish engulfing this morning. Just watch it. It'd be nothing for this to reject here before going higher. Okay. It could reject here, base back down, and then go higher. It could just bounce around here for a year. So just watch it. Watch this. You thought it was going to break this time, right? And then you went through it the whole summer. This time it's really going to go. Bearish engulfing, right? Do we see a pattern? Bearish engulfing, right? So it's so important to look for pattern recognition, something else to take note of. Pattern recognition, bearish engulfing. Don't really, well, I kind of have one there. Bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing. Look where we're at. So just keep that in mind. Looking for pattern recognition tells you everything you need to know. TCNNF. Until you're above that 50-day, I wouldn't even look at it. AMEH. Hey, Paul. So here's the issue for me. Now, we got stopped out of this with a $10 profit. We could have done a lot better. I mean, we were in this, and 3 times it hit that 99 level and didn't break. It was a classic example of something that we should have been selling into. And you look back at it, and it makes the situation a lot easier. You have this down bar. You have this morning star position, right? For those that haven't watched that candlestick video, I would watch it. It's on my playlist. But you see they have this morning star here. Break out of that and then go. And then go. I thought actually my look for this yesterday was I was looking for this to get to a higher high today. And then I was going to say, I was probably going to say that it's probably a buy up to 114. What's interesting about this trade is it may still be a buy this morning, right? This may still be a buy. This could bottom out off the open and then go higher. So I would not rule this out as a buy yet. I would see how it acts off the open and go from there. Okay, that's really what you're going to have to do today. BTU is a coal company. Okay. EXPI, I went through that one, Art. I'll do it again very quickly. So for me, give me 1 second here. Okay. So in regards to EXPI, just FYI, I mean, just watch these levels. Okay. I don't see this as anything. I mean, I have a position in this. I'm not doing anything with it. I like my flag, and I think it should break out here. So, can't see the tickers. You should be able to see the tickers in the middle of the screen. CZR. So, I mean, it's pretty clear which one's a leader, right? I mean, I've been talking about this for some time, right? I mean, you can kind of see what's going on here. There's certain ones that are just breaking out and look like they're going to continue to go. And they're breaking out of huge bases like CZR is, I mean, like if the market's going to continue and we're going to open up, like this stuff's going to start running. RRR is, and you just kind of have to go from there. So, just something to continue, and something to see. But that's definitely something to deal with. I like them. You just have to watch them today. You didn't have follow through really yesterday on a lot of names that are in this space, and that was concerning, but this acted very well and is continuing to act well. So, I mean, you're breaking out and hitting new highs. So they're really the names you want to be looking for. So here you go. UNG Natural Gas Fund ETF, for those that were asking. So, and you can see how that's doing or how that's done. It's interesting that you're down, but maybe it's a thinly traded. No, it's not really that thinly traded, is it? So, yeah, I mean, you would expect this to continue. You'd expect that's interesting going into the winter like this. You would expect this to continue. Not to this, but if breaking above this, and if oil prices are going to go up, this is going to go up. So it might be worth putting on your radar. BBIG TMC. You know, look, like this kind of name, the run up yesterday, you should have had follow through. You didn't. Now you're back down here. Let's see what happens with it. To me, it's not something I'd get involved with. Right now, I'd watch this. I still like it, but this wick yesterday really was annoying, to say the least. Now you just kind of have to watch and see what we do. From here, I expect this to possibly try and trade back up to that 21-day, but you can see where support is and resistance. So you're going to have to see how it plays out. So let's keep going. Zora, I just went through a whole list of them. So take a look at what I said earlier. You're going to have to go through that because I threw a bunch of names out there this morning. TMC, I wouldn't touch this. I wouldn't go anywhere near this unless you're expecting some kind of news. Other than that, just avoid that name. Here. Hey, buddy. So TSLA, Tesla. So I went through that this morning, and you know, I'll just put a caveat out there. I took another position. I added to my position this morning, pre-market. You know, just to be blunt, lower than where we are now, but I don't think it really matters considering, you know, what I think is going to happen off the open. So here's the issue. Okay, to me, I actually think if we didn't have the debt nonsense politically, which is what we really saw at the end of the day, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The last hour, what did we see? This nonsense, right? So I fully expect this to trade its way back up to this level. And it's kind of starting to do it now, isn't it? Right? You know, there's a bunch of reasons for that, but I don't think that we would have fallen off had this continued. So for me, I think it's really important to understand that. I personally think that Tesla's going back to its highs. So, you know, that's my position on this one, buddy. Like in the newsletter, if you don't get the newsletter, there's a free version that'll be placed in the descriptions of this. But in regards to this, I would really focus on, you know, this heading back to this level. There's a reason I put 2 BPAs in it, even said yesterday you could use that as a third BPA. I mean, there's a reason I did that. Like I think this is going here. I think this is going to be the quickest, you know, 15, 16% people could make in a very short period of time. So we pulled right back to this wedge line level that I have marked off right today. And hold on, let me just go through that so you can see it. So we pulled right through that level. We closed right over that level. And I expect to get back to that level today. You know, that's my thought on it. So I don't really see an issue. Just keep that in mind. But I like the name. Yeah, I mean, I'm buying this morning. I mean, I can't be any clearer. AEHR swing. I mean, this is what my thought was with it. So I'll tell you how I'm playing this. So let me just move that out of the way and move this out of the way. And so this is where you're at this morning. Okay, look where you bounced. Okay, let's look at that level. Okay, so this morning you bounced right off support. So anybody that was lucky enough to get that area probably should do very well, right? That's the area that where I would actually be on the long side looking, as if I can get to that 13 level. Okay, maybe it goes lower and I give it $1 stop, but that's really what I'm hoping for it to get to. That's the level I'm looking for, and maybe it happens today. AMD. So let's go to AMD and just take a look here. So again, this caveat. I have a position in AMD. I started it yesterday on the wedge break. Okay, so what have we done this morning so far? We came right to the test of this, and we already traded back up the majority of the move, and we're off the open. So that kind of tells you what to expect today with this. I would expect semiconductors to be trading up to flat, and I could be wrong, but you have Micron coming out with earnings. They move the whole market. They move the entire semiconductor market. So I don't know. I have really no interest in selling it. I'll just leave it alone, and we'll see what happens. But I think I've been saying for some time I think we can get back to this 111, and then I think you're going to head back to this 122 level. I've just been waiting for that break. So let's just keep going here. And let's look at CLNE. CLNE. So I'm assuming this is like a clean energy kind of company. So here's your break right here at $9. Again, you'd be looking for this to get to that 1047 level, right? That's really your level that you're looking for. So I wonder why this goes back so far. Sometimes there's a reason. Yep. So there's your reason. So here's your peak, 1048. And then look how it's respected that here, flips it, support, flips it, resistance. Guess what your resistance is? So that's the level you're looking for, CLNE. But would I buy this here? I mean, look, if you close here, you're over, right? Your bottom's probably in if you close here. But that would give you a $6 stop. So you kind of have to watch that. But that can go. My plan is to buy. I've been buying since this morning. I mean, I hate to be that blunt about it, and I'm not trying to get everybody to. Everyone has to do what they want to do. I'm using this weakness as a buying opportunity, specifically in tech names. I'm not the type of individual that buys energy just because they're up for the day. If you did that yesterday, you'd get killed, right? If you bought all the cruise lines yesterday, you get killed. Maybe I'd look at the cruise lines today for a trade, but I'm really looking at tech today. I like days like today. I can usually do fairly well with them. Wow. Hold on. Let's go to a daily. So there's your wedge line, right? I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'll just throw it in. Okay, there's your wedge line. So it's pretty clear what you have to do, right? So if you're interested in this, and again, I'm speaking technically, I don't know what they do. I think that they might actually be an energy, but I could be wrong. Or they're a shipper. I really don't know what they do. So what you're looking for is a break of that wedge line, and then you're looking for a test of 90. Thanks, Shaq. Appreciate it. But I would say this, he's right. You should subscribe to the channel because I do change the time of this meeting every day. I do it sometime between 8:15 and 8:30, so at least you'd be notified if you subscribed. Do you think it's safe to jump on Viacom? Do you also look at CBS? Yep, let's take a look at those, Cobra. So to me, no, I don't think it's too late to jump into this. I mean, my argument would be I wouldn't probably be in this. Okay, this was obviously super manipulated, right? And I don't think you're anywhere done with them just pulling premium out of these options for a period of time. So you remember all these options you have in here? They're just sucking premium out of them. I mean, that's really all they're doing. And very similar to what happened with stocks like this, right? Where people think that this is going to go back someday. No, this is just them trading it around, and it'll get tighter and tighter until eventually it'll have some kind of breakout. Same thing that's going on here. So based upon what happened here, I would not be anywhere near looking at this. It's not something I would be looking at as buying. I'd be staying away from that. CVS has been doing well, right? CVS had they've been doing all right. I get it. I mean, here's your trading range. This goes back to a weekly. Let's look at the weekly real quick. 84.71, right? Now look, Here's your wedge line. Now you're going to break out. So that's what you're looking for. And Matt, so that had a great day yesterday. And, you know, it looks like this morning. Oh, hold on one second. Let me go to the daily. It looks like this morning you're pulling back a little bit. So I wouldn't say that this is over, but, you know, this is your levels, right? So now we can move this up to here. And this is really what you're looking for some kind of confirmation to get over that level. Where is that? 642, we're at 643. You want to flip that level and go. Until you do that, you could buy this here and then see if it does it. I mean, if you're that interested in it, you could do that and see how it acts. EXPE. You know, I mean, if you don't catch the theme that I'm trying to put down today, it's that I do think that a lot of this stuff can bounce. So let's get rid of this for a moment. Then we can see, look at this channel a little bit better. And you can see how you're trying to break out over this channel. And there's another wedge line here. And now you're over this part of that wedge line. So let's do it this way. Let's get out of this channel for a moment. And let's just look at this wedge line. Okay. So here's your wedge line on EXPE. Okay. What do you have to do when you have a wedge line like this and a wedge line break? Your very first thing you need to do for confirmation is get over this. All right. Once you're over, now you have confirmation that you're over. Now we can put in your bells and whistles. Okay. I mean, that looks to me like, you know, and I've been saying this, it looks to me like it's risk on for people going to casinos, for people flying again. It looks like we're going to start seeing risk on. And I would expect that to continue for some time. You know, I don't think that's going to go away. You know, people are starting to realize that they're going to have to open places up. So that can continue to go. You know, that whole space is getting interesting. And I'm not so sure why you're seeing the major companies like this, like the bigger industrial kind of computer companies, why they're doing this. But they are getting interesting. That pulled right back down to your 200-day moving average and then bounced off there. And now you're trying to get up there to 145. So that's really what you're looking for, that 145 level, right? Up here, 145, 146. It could go. You know, I think there's 5-6 points there. You really need this to break out and start going higher. Until that happens, it's really hard to say that I should get excited about it here. OMC. So let's go here. So OMC Omnicom, right there. That's what you're shooting for. That's what you need to get above. When would you get out of love? Well, these are your levels, right? I would get out of love if it breaks the 70-50 because that gets me below the 8-day, which I have not been below. Okay. And that would be concerning to me. If I close below the 8-day moving average, usually I don't want to be in it. Okay. That's just a rule of thumb on the short term. If I close below my 8-day moving average, I probably don't want to be there. If it bounces back through it, I could look at adding to it and getting back in if I wanted to. Or look for the next setup. But for me, it's probably not something that I want to buy, right? Especially if I'm trying to buy a momentum stock. So if I break that, I'd probably get out of it. But really the 70-50. That hit the stop. That hit my stop loss yesterday, Ethan. AMD. Hey, Brian. So I went through it. I will go through it again real quick. Here's your trend line. You broke your trend line. You held your 50-day. I mean, it's pretty clear where your stop is. It's like, this is not that hard to figure out, right? And you're respecting this 50-day. Now, I think you're going to hang in there. I think you're going to hang in there, and I think you're going to trend higher. That's just, my thought on it. So, I don't really see a reason to, how can I say this? I really don't see a reason to panic sell this. I think it's going to go higher. Now, you have Micron's earnings today, and that's going to affect the name for sure. So let's do Goldman. So Goldman's having trouble with that 21-day. If you're really interested, this is from before. We're not in it right now. Get rid of all that. If you're interested in those names, JP Morgan, okay, that definitely looks substantially better if you're looking to play these names. Okay, that looks way better than Goldman. Right, Goldman's having some issues here. I'm not sure as to what the differentiation is, but this is struggling in comparison. A firm. Let's take a look at a firm. I did UPST already, and we're getting ready to watch down on a firm. I mean, you're sitting right there, right? You're open. You're at the high of the day already. So, I mean, if I broke that 121, I'd probably be concerned. But other than that, I would not be overly concerned here. Okay. DAC is shipping. Okay, thanks. So yeah, with those kinds of names like the shippers, look, the containers are going through the roof cost-wise. So this can move again. I mean, look at this. Look at what it's done over a year. I mean, it's crazy. So this can continue. I mean, that's just an insane move. BP weekly looking at 28.63. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, like, look, this is going to trade on oil, and that's what you have to understand. Once the oil stops going up, this stops going up, right? So that's really what you're looking for. But it's really a question of what oil prices do, right? So you just might be better off owning oil if that's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to stay in this long term, then just buy it. Buy it when you can. But that's how I would look at it. As soon as oil stops, that stops. You're welcome, buddy. I have it. You're welcome, buddy. I have the coffee. I got a whole pot on. I'm ready. Mash that. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, it just kept going. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Let's just do, hey, Mark, let's do DKNG, and then we'll go from there. Oh, you're welcome, Robert. So I'm going to just do DraftKings, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up here. So this just looks like it's going to fall off a cliff. We had a trade in this in the newsletter in the community. We made like $9 on it, breaking through here, trading up, and then we talked about how it rejected at $64, and to get out of that trade, we did quite well with it. So considering what happened, but 64.10 has always been that level. Someone posted a really good article, and I don't usually say this about like research, but Hedge I did research on this, and they do good research. Like they actually are. It's thought. They're thought out. They just don't come out and put a short report out because they're short and they want you to short it, right? It's a little different than some of these other like crappy companies that do that to people. But it's very interesting, the cost of acquisition of a customer for DraftKings versus Penn. And I was not aware of that. So this could get weaker. This could trade back down to the low 40s. So they might be onto something there. I would not be long that. Shop, the short idea, I would hold off until you get to 1,500, buddy. And Google, I'll do Google and then I'm out. So again, you need to watch these. All these companies are doing this, right? They're all breaking that level. It's not where you want to be. Microsoft's breaking it. Apple's breaking it. That's what I'm saying. Like even the bounce today that you play on the long side on tech, you might not want to be in that long, right? You're going to have to really watch and see what happens here. this breakdown, it's pretty powerful. So, just watch it and go from there. But I do think that you can bounce. But that whole sector, like they're all, look, FANG is below the 50-day moving average, right? I mean, they're all below it, except I think Netflix. So they're all below it. So just consider that. There are lots of breakdowns of very large tech companies. And that's not really a large tech company, this is. But that's what you're seeing, and that can continue. All right? So mine right now, I mean, I would, my number one stock that I'm buying this morning or was buying this morning, I don't know if you call it tech, it's Tesla. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. All right, I'm out of here. I'll talk to everyone later. As always, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.